Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Today we are here to talk about how successful were in attempts to improve international relations 1924 to 1929, lesson 2.3. And today I'm going to explain how countries tried to rebuild peace and cooperation after World War One, focusing on the years from 1924 to 1929. This period is important because it shows both real progress and the limits of diplomacy before the Great Depression. By 1924, Europe was still in chaos. Economies were destroyed, inflation was high, and France and Belgium were still occupying the Ruhr. Countries had left the gold standard and printed much more money, which made inflation worse. But between 1924 and 1929, things slowly improved. Countries returned to the gold standards, business started investing, and confidence began to rise. The gold standard is a monetary system where currency value is directly linked to gold. The role of the United States of America. The United States became the world's leading economy power after World War One. Even though the USA followed an isolationist policy, it still shaped Europe's recovery and through losses and investments. The Roaring Twenties gave the US the money and influence to help stabilize Germany and reduce tensions across Europe. The Dawes Plan, 1924. The Dawes Plan was the first major breakthrough between France and Belgium agreed to withdraw from the Ruhr. Germany. Reparations were reduced and the US loaned Germany money to rebuild. This plan didn't solve everything, but it restored and reopened diplomatic communication. The Locarno Treaties, 1925. The Locarno Treaties were a huge step forward for Germany, France, and Belgium agreed to respect their borders, and Britain and Italy promised to defend any country that was attacked. Germany wanted to rebuild its reputation, and the treaty helped it re-enter international politics. Locarno created a sense of optimism, known as the spirit of Locarno. Germany joined the League of Nations. In 1926, Germany was accepted into the League of Nations as a permanent member. This was a major symbol of reconciliation. It showed that Germany was no longer treated as an outcast and could now participate in global decision making. The Kellogg-Briand Pact, 1928 to 1929. The Kellogg-Briand Pact was a global agreement where over 60 countries promised not to use war as a way to solve its problems. It sounded impressive but had no enforcement rules. Still, it showed how much countries wanted peace, at least on the paper. The Owen Young Plan, 1929. Germany's reparations were lowered from $6.6 billion pounds to £2 billion. Germany gained control over its economy. France agreed it, but it still distrusted Germany. Changing relations between powers. France shifted from a force to more diplomacy against Germany. They formed an alliance with Eastern Europe called the Little Internet, and Britain was suspicious of the USSR, broke ties in 1928, but resumed trade with them in 1929. USA was isolationist but economically central. Loans and trade shaped the Europeans' recovery. Germany. Streseman's diplomacy rebuilt trust, accepted Versailles, and joined the League of Nations. USSR. They were isolated but close to Germany via the Rapallo Act. During this era, they received economic recovery and diplomacy improved. The Germany reintegrated into global politics. Optimism and cooperation peaked by 1929. However, there were some limitations to this era, such as peace was still fragile, dependent on loans and the goodwill. Eastern Europe still remains very vulnerable despite its diplomatic progress, and the optimism of 1929 was short lived, so this would not be lasting forever, but we'll figure out what's going to happen, how this is going to break in chapter 3. All right. Thank you all for listening on this fabulous day. I hope this helped make the 1920s clearer and showed you how countries tried but still failed to try to build a lasting peace. Again, my name is Owen Deshetsky. I'm proud to be your host, and I hope to see you in the next video, 2.4. Bye, guys, and all have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.